I'm going to hand over now to Ed Humpherson, the Director General of Regulation in the UK Statistics Authority. Ed came to us from the National Audit Office, where he was a board-level member with very onerous responsibilities and a track record which is impeccable. I'm going to say no more than that, except to invite him to speak now. Ed.
Well, thank you very much, David, and good morning to all of you, and thank you for coming here today. I want you to think of yourselves as an extremely privileged group. And the reason for that is this event has proved more popular than we could possibly have dreamt. So I want you to imagine, and this may even not even be imagination, this may actually be true, that there are about 50 people outside clamouring to get in, and the doors have been closed, and you're the lucky ones inside, and the ones on the outside are just going to see us leaving and maybe ask us what we learned. And I actually want to address myself to the question for the next few minutes: why is it that this event has proven so popular? So when we thought of having an event at the RSS, we were thinking maybe 35, 40 people would be about the right kind of number. We'd be happy with that. And maybe if we invited 40, maybe 25 would turn up, but that wouldn't be too bad. If we'd have left it at 25, we could have run the event 5 times, or maybe even 6 times, and still had people not wanting to come. And I think that's a real testament to the nature of administrative data as an issue. So I want to talk for the next few minutes about why it is that I think this event that we're running has proven so popular. And I think there are 3 answers which I'll elaborate on. Firstly, the topic is hot. Secondly, I think people want to influence the authorities' thinking on this issue. And thirdly, administrative data, more than most issues in statistics, involve very many players with different perspectives. And I'm going to say a little bit about each of those in a second. But first, I'd just like to say something about the UK Statistics Authority for those of you who may not know us. So the statutory objective of the authority, established in 2008, is to promote and safeguard the production and publication of official statistics that serve the public good. The authority to deliver that objective has multiple roles. The one which is relevant to today is we are the regulator of the statistical system, and I'm the head of that regulatory function on behalf of the authority. As regulator, we do 3 things. We assess statistics, and as a result of our assessments, we conclude whether those statistics merit the designation national statistic or not. And that's really the core of our work. Secondly, we monitor the statistical system. We look across at generic systemic issues, themes, opportunities, risks, challenges. And what we're talking about today really fits under that monitoring heading. And the third thing we do is we make public interventions where we see evidence of statistics being misused, abused in public debate. So why do I think that this event has been so popular? Well, reason number 1, I think the topic of administrative data is hot right now. I think there's a palpable sense amongst the data and statistics community that our time has come, that we are in the midst of a data revolution. And I can do no better, in fact, than quoting our hosts today, the Royal Statistical Society. They produced a data manifesto to influence the political parties ahead of the next general election. And their data manifesto opens with this tremendous quote. And I'm just going to read it out, but maybe at the back you can't read it. It is, "What steam was to the 19th century and oil has been to the 20th, data is to the 21st. It's the driver of prosperity, the revolutionary resource that is transforming the nature of economic activity, the capability that differentiates successful from unsuccessful societies." Administrative data lies at the heart of this vision, and it's generating a huge amount of interest right across the statistical spectrum, administrative data being a source to meet this future that the Royal Statistical Society paints. So that's the first reason. Administrative data is hot. I think the second reason this event has proven so popular is the work of the authority. We think that lots of people really want to influence the authority's approach to this work. We think about this brand, what this brand of national statistics means, the value that it conveys to users of statistics. We think a lot about what it takes for a statistic to be a national statistic, to merit this gold standard. And one issue that we've focused on a lot in the course of this year is the quality assurance of administrative data. Where statistics are produced from administrative data, what should the statisticians and those who supply the data to the statisticians do to quality assure themselves? And this piece of work has generated more interest than most of our work has tended to, particularly amongst the statistical community. Lots of people have wanted to engage with us to influence our thinking, and I think that's reflected in the number of people who've wanted to come today. Now, I'm not going to go through this review, quality assurance of administrative data, in any detail now, and that's because I know that you have all read it several times over, so I'd be wasting your time if I was to go through it. If you would like to know more, if you've perhaps for a second lost the URL, you can go to our website and find it again. There's a second reason why I'm not going to go through it. It is very much a work in progress. And in the course of all the engagement we've been doing, all the people who've wanted to try and influence our thinking on this subject, we've realised that we haven't got everything right in that draft, and we're developing it and evolving it. And this event, in fact, is a further step in that process of influencing our thinking. So why is this event popular? Reason number 2 is I think there are people who are really keen to influence the authorities' thinking. The third reason I think this event is so popular is that administrative data is a multifaceted phenomenon with many different interested players. Now, I think that's always true of any statistic. Indeed, when we think about what it takes for something to be a national statistic, we think about 4 domains. We think about the domain of regulation, how we as the regulator form our judgments on whether a particular statistic meets our standards. We think about the producers of statistics, the people who are the statisticians within government departments who are working on statistics, the culture, the practices, the thinking, the curiosity they demonstrate. We think about the statistics themselves, what they're about, what they're saying, what information they convey. And perhaps most importantly, we think about the uses to which the statistics are put. So whenever, as an authority, we think about national statistics, we think in a multifaceted way. That is nowhere more true than in administrative data, because in each of those domains, you find multiple players. Just to pick one, you think about producers of statistics based on administrative data, you don't simply have the statisticians. You will have the people in departments who are responsible for management information. You might have the internal assurance procedures around that internal management information. In lots of cases, you might have an external regulator. In the health sector, for example, you have an external regulator like CQC. In the police context, you'll have an inspectorate. You'll also have the primary data recorders, what you might think of as the front line of public sector operatives who are recording their activities, their decisions, their judgments, to create the kind of source of the administrative data. So I think this event is popular because par excellence it demonstrates this multifaceted nature of what a good statistic is. And as a result of that, there are just many players. I can see looking around the room that you're not all statisticians, that some of you are producers, you're people who use statistics and so on. And I think it just administrative data, more than any other topic, attracts in interest from these multiple players. That's all I really wanted to say to set this event up. I wanted to say the topic is hot, that we recognise that people really want to influence the authorities' thinking, and we're delighted that you want to do so and encourage you to do so. And this is a multifaceted phenomenon which is best understood through multiple lenses and different perspectives. So that's why our agenda has different speakers who are talking from very different perspectives. I think the best thing I can do then is to sit down again and start the process of you hearing from the people who actually work with administrative data on a day-to-day basis. So thank you very much.
Our second speaker is Neil McIver from the Department for Work and Pensions. Neil started off his career in banking, but he left there long before the problems later on. He's also worked in retail and local government sectors, so he has wide experience. And since then, he's been much involved in producing official and national statistics from admin data sources, and was instrumental in creating DWP's Work and Pensions longitudinal study, which has got over 1 billion records in it, so it's big data by any standards. And he's much involved in the production of about 50 statistical series each year in DWP. So he's an admirable speaker to talk to us on potential and challenges of admin data in government. Neil.
Thank you, David.